Hi there. Welcome to this short video where I'm going to be talking to you about what I'm going to call the political genius pill. But first, my name is Christopher Ahlstrom-Vij, and I'm a reader in philosophy here at Birkbeck. And I work in social epistemology, which means that I think about how we come to know things together, be it in groups or societies. And I'm particularly interested in the role of knowledge in political choice, and that's what I'm going to be talking to you about today. So let's get started, and let's start with a question. So why do we care about democracy? Well, possibly for many reasons, right? But I want to make one particular suggestion that we're then going to be returning to in a moment. And my suggestion is that one reason we care about democracy is because we want our voices to be heard and for them to be represented in the political process. So keep this in mind for now. Like I said, we're going to return to this in a moment. But first, let's imagine something. So imagine that there's a political genius pill. So if you take it, you will immediately come to know everything there is to know about politics. All party political positioning, all legislative and procedural detail, as well as all the things on which policy turns. So think economics, sociology, psychology, and you name it. And guess what? It's perfectly safe and it has no side effects. Also, one more thing. Tomorrow, there's a general election, and you've been given access to this political genius pill. So here's a question. Would you take it? Well, think about that for a second. Okay, let me add one more detail here. So when you take the pill, your political attitudes might change. So as you become really informed about things, you might reevaluate some of your views, maybe even abandon some of them. So maybe you're a supporter of Party X, for example. But if you take the pill, you might come out a supporter of Party Y. So now I'll ask you again, would you take the pill? And in particular, did you start to hesitate just now? So if you did, why do you think that is? So what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to try to convince those of you who hesitated just now, or those of you who maybe didn't want to take it to begin with, I want to try to convince you that if you had access to such a political genius pill, you should take it. So let's start here. So imagine something different. So imagine that we're voting on where we should draw our water supply from. And we have two options here, A and B. And B, as it happens, is contaminated with industry waste, while A is not. But as it happens, I vote for B because I'm confused about the two. So whenever people have been talking about the industry waste in B, I thought they were talking about A. And whenever people have been talking about how safe A is, I thought they were talking about B. So I vote for B. But the question now is, do I want B? Well, no, right? So sure, I chose B. But when you make a choice out of ignorance, you don't choose what you want. We can drive this point home further by considering the following. So imagine that on my way home after voting, I run into you, and you clear up my confusion. So it would now be appropriate for me to say, oh God, that's not what I wanted, right? I didn't want B, I wanted A. And the only reason I went for B was because I was confused. Now, here's a more general principle to capture what's going on here. So if you no longer would have wanted X, had you come to know more, but otherwise remained exactly the same, you don't really want X. And we can apply this principle to the water source case. So if my coming to know more about A and B means that I would no longer want B, then I don't really want B. And let's bring this back to the political genius pill, because the same principle applies here. So if my support for Party X, for example, would have vanished had I known more, then that's not really the party that I want. And think about what this means here, right? So in particular, if you hesitated earlier, think about what that means. So if I hesitate to take the pill because I might stop supporting the party or the political cause I currently am supporting, I'm in effect trying to protect my political affiliations by remaining ignorant. So this gets back to where we started about why we care about democracy. So again, I suggested that we care about democracy because we want our voices heard and to be represented in the political process. But if the pill would have changed your views, that means that they were resting on a lack of knowledge and that your voice does not capture what you truly want. So this is why we should all take the pill. Of course, there's no political genius pill, so what does this really mean then? Well, here's one way to think about it. So the problem posed for democracy by the fact that most of us don't know very much about politics is in some respects what's known as a collective action problem. So here's one famous collective action problem. If each one of us thinks it makes no difference if I don't recycle, then we're all in trouble. Right? And similarly, some have suggested that a similar problem arises in politics. So if each one of us thinks it makes no difference if my political views might rest on false beliefs, It doesn't make any difference if I happen to be politically uninformed. Then we're all in trouble. But what we've talked about here in relation to the political knowledge pill, I think gives us a sense of a deeper problem here, a problem of what we might think of as false consciousness. So false consciousness typically refers to cases where we become divorced from our true self in some way. Maybe we internalized values and desires that in some relevant sense aren't really ours. And I think that's the type of problem that the political genius pill helps us highlight, because it does make a difference if your political views rest on false beliefs. And it makes a difference for you, because you run the risk of not having your true political voice be represented in the political process, insofar as you're not politically informed. Okay, I hope you found that interesting. So if you have any questions or would like to get in touch, then I'm including my email here, so feel free to send me an email. And thanks for watching.